cozy hour. It's a cozy tea time hour.
Yes.
I'm your host, Bianca Malineski, and I'm here with Good Girl, episode 3 of the podcast, with my very special guest, Auri Maruri. And Auri, I have to say, I'm just going to read your Instagram bio.
Oh, okay.
Okay, which reads literary agent, avid reader.
Yes.
Do you remember all the things you put on there?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Monthly globetrotter.
Correct.
Healthy lifestyle.
Yeah.
Art collector.
Mm-hmm.
Student for life. And I'm also going to add friend and fellow Texan.
Yes.
Because that's not on there.
That is true. Yes. And I do have to update the art collecting thing because I stopped collecting about a decade ago. So
okay, so you can take the art collector out
yeah.
and add in. Would you add in Texan or you just?
I would add Texan and I would add Dixie's mom.
Okay, so those are the things. Yes, and then we also have Dixie, guys. Let's not forget
Dixie Maruri.
So Auri Maruri.
Yeah.
Are you a good girl?
Well, it depends on who you ask.
Yeah. Let's say if I asked your neighbor, what would they say?
I think my neighbor would say, I don't know.
Okay. Because you don't know the neighbor.
Well, the neighbor does not know me.
The neighbor does not know you. What about if
it depends on which neighbor you ask. One of them would probably say she's a bitch.
Okay. Love that. Spill the tea. We're drinking the tea. What about if I asked your a boyfriend you dated in your 20s? What would they say?
Good girl was not the word that they would use.
Okay.
But
we love that. We love that for you. So how is life right now? How are you feeling? How are you doing? Let's just get into the nuts and bolts here.
I'm feeling good.
Yeah.
I'm feeling overall I would say a sense of equanimity.
Okay.
Although there are times where, because of where things are in my industry and state of the world, sometimes it just feels like a roller coaster. And it's like, at this point, I feel like, okay, let's just hang on. Hang on for dear life. Put on your seatbelts and hang on.
It does kind of feel like that. It does kind of feel, even today, I mean, sometimes obviously when the news is on and I'm watching what just was said somewhere,
right,
I'm like, this is a carnival. Like, this is literally a circus. And I don't know what to do. Mm-hmm. I feel like Dixie wants to give this interview.
Okay. Dixie, come, baby.
Come. She got
to be part
booted off the island. So as a literary agent, how did you break into the entertainment industry? Tell me the story of like when you first started and where you were and what happened.
Well, I actually, so my college, I went to school in Boston. I went to Boston University. Boston University had and still has a film program for its film and TV students out here in LA. So I came out here, did a study abroad out here a semester before I graduated, and I landed on a movie set, and I was that director's assistant, or intern, I should say, because he did have an assistant, and he was represented at CAA. That assistant had just finished a stint at CAA. So when I graduated from college, I immediately came out here, was highly recommended by this director and his assistant. And I didn't know at the time that if you got a recommendation from a client, you're basically a shoo-in.
Oh, really?
Yes. And I also did not know that if a client referred you, you could skip the mailroom, which I skipped the mailroom. I went directly to a senior agent's desk.
How long do people stay in the mailroom for?
It depends. It could be anywhere from a couple of months, a year, or...
Has anyone ever been in the mailroom for like 3 years?
I mean, I'm sure people have, yes. Or it could be a couple of weeks, depending on what desk opens up and, what the needs are.
So what year was that when you became an agent's assistant?
Date myself. This was 2006.
Okay. And what was the vibe at the agency at CAA, guys? This is like the largest agency in the world in 2006.
Yeah, so 2006. So this was when CAA was the agency,
like full entourage.
Yeah, like WME did not exist. It was William Morris, Endeavor, ICM, but they weren't real competitors at the time. I mean, they were certainly comparable, but they were just the creme de la creme, and it was, a fun time in terms of having all the A-list clients. The agency was flush with cash. There was no equity partners. It was all private. Business was booming, but there weren't, like when I started at lit desk, feature lit desk, and I remember when I first started, I had aspirations to write, produce, and direct. And the first day there, not only did I feel like I was in Death of a Salesman, but I immediately thought, there is no way I'm going to be a writer or director in this business. Like, we do not speak to any women, but we did speak to one female producer, and that was Nancy Javonen, who was Drew Barrymore's producing partner, still is Drew's producing partner, if I'm not mistaken. And so that gave me hope of like, well, I could still produce and pursue that pathway. So I would say it was definitely the atmosphere was one of, very much male oriented on the director and writer side.
And how did that make you feel? Like as a young woman?
Well, like I said, it made me feel like there was not an opportunity for me in writing, directing, but that it could happen on the producer side. And then eventually, after being at CA for such a long time, and then segueing into development, I developed a passion for developing and producing as well. So that just seemed to be a good fit for me.
And you told me at one point that there were only 2 women assistants, 2 female.
Oh no!
When you were at CA, or how many female assistants?
Oh, what I probably told you is that there were 2 female Latina. Assistants, and Latin period. There was no Latino assistant that I at least knew of.
Wow.
And yeah, it was me and another girl. So there was not. It was not a diverse place.
And what year do you feel like that started to change? That you noticed that?
I think that started to change more in by 2009.
Okay.
Yeah. And maybe before, but there was definitely more diverse assistants by the time I left, for sure, in all departments.
I definitely feel that you have to see someone in those jobs, like that's a woman, for you to feel like, oh, I have an opportunity with that. Because, growing up, I remember seeing women, acting, obviously.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, I can be an actress. But I did not know that women were directing or writing or producing. And it wasn't until I booked my first acting job and I went to set and I noticed that that they were all men, the writers, the producers, the directors, that I was like, oh, hell no.
Yeah.
Like, and then you're like, oh, wait, that's what they get to do? That seems pretty cool. Like, why can't I do that? But it is a thing of like, if you just don't see people doing it, you just don't think that that's an option.
Yeah, you don't feel like it's attainable, for sure. Yeah. So,
very interesting. Yes. So what do you feel like the hardest part of your job is, or like the hardest part of like being in Hollywood, like working in Hollywood?
I mean, right now, the hardest part is getting jobs for clients in a market and industry that has contracted. So that's been really tough.
There's just not enough to go around right now.
There's not enough to go around, but also peak TV is a thing of the past. And if it does come around, it certainly will not be like the times that we experienced.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of the biggest challenges. It, I would say on the theatrical side, and I'm saying that on TV, theatrical side, I think the box office is coming back. I think it's still hard to get people into the movie theaters, particularly the young audience. I think you watched the Oscars over the weekend,
Yeah.
and I don't know if you remember the clip of Conan O'Brien making fun of, making fun of streaming in the sense of, streaming is now available in a bigger screen.
Oh, yes, I remember that. Yeah, we could just all
Yes,
go
yeah,
watch
yeah,
it.
yeah. So,
I mean, I feel like streaming. I mean, I feel like it's still changing. Even figuring out what is the next thing after streaming. Like, I feel like that's where we are right now, where it's like streaming, but then there's also this other thing that I don't know what it is, like on the horizon.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. I mean, we are now starting to see the bundles with other streaming platforms because I think, I mean, even I as a consumer have gotten exhausted of, okay, well, where is this at? Is this on Hulu, Paramount Plus, Peacock, Netflix? I have a running list of what I want to watch or need to watch. And in parentheses, I specifically put what streaming service, because I don't want to waste my time looking at my phone and having to figure out, okay, where's this playing?
Yeah, I've talked to a few people about some sort of app where it helps you like just figure out what you're going to watch and put it on there, so you're not just like searching all the time. I feel
So
like
it streamlines it for you?
Yeah.
Wait, this is an app?
Well, no, like I feel like that should be something where it kind of like queues everything up for you.
Yeah.
Like even if it's AI, like something to help you queue things up and where you're not like logging in and looking here and doing that. 'Cause I feel like that's a lot of time. And then by the time you sit down and watch.
I mean, certainly we're going to be seeing some changes in terms of, AI is entering the scene. I mean, I'm curious to see where we as agents can leverage that. I don't think it replaces a writer, but I mean, there is, I think, certainly an opportunity, a good opportunity, I think, if AI is used appropriately.
That was a question from Instagram, actually. Yeah. Someone asked, how is AI affecting the industry? Is it affecting it right now?
I mean, I'm not feeling it right this second on the lit side because, there are guardrails with the WGA agreement against AI. So it's not like there is drafts being turned in just from an AI generated machine.
Have you heard about anything around town? Like, oh, it's the first AI movie that's being made. I haven't heard anything.
I haven't heard that. I mean, I'm sure that that it's coming up the pipeline, but as of right now, certainly a writer can use AI to help them with their script.
I've done that before. Yeah,
that's totally.
I was writing a movie about global warming and like climate change and how it affected Puerto Rico or how it affects Puerto Rico. And I used AI just for like, hey, like, what is this? And then they told me, and then I was like, okay, I can fit that into the story. But now I actually know something of what I'm talking about.
However, I was talking to a manager not too long ago, and he was telling me about this AI service that executives are starting to use to read clients' materials. And by clients, I mean our clients.
Oh, that's interesting.
So like a studio executive or a network executive. Yeah. And so that does give me a little bit of pause, because if they're just putting it into AI and not really reading it, my concern is that they're not really understanding the tone of this writer or, what the script really is. So that does give me some concern about AI.
I know so many reps who just don't have the time to read all the scripts, and I could see how this, or like even just a lot of people don't.
Yeah.
And a lot of them don't read, actually, some of these people, which is like terrible because it's a part of their job, but they just have so many other things. Yeah.
Well, as an agent, I mean, I'm definitely reading my clients' material, and I'm reading material that's not only incoming from my clients, but also I cover so projects that are set up at studios and networks. My concern is more of like these executives that I'm trying to sell my client to at a buyer. And if they're not reading my client because they just put it on AI and it came back with just a synopsis. And,
but scripts have always been such a personal, like it's art, you have a personal relationship, like with Boogie Nights, like, like that was thrown in the trash can. And then who was it? Scott Rudin or whoever it was, read it, or like it was in the trash can, and then he like brought it to someone. I think an executive.
I don't know the history of Boogie
Nights. and was like, you need to do this, but like on paper that script is weird, but someone saw something and then it became like a cult classic, which is insane. So moving on from Hollywood, segue.
Thank you.
Okay, so you're one of my friends it's always giving me like money advice, which I really appreciate. I feel like, so what is your relationship with money? Like where did you get your money like prowess?
I will say that, and as you can see, one of the books here.
Guys, we have a book right here, Financial Feminist.
Yeah, and then look at the one underneath that one, the other one.
Oh, is it like for investing for dummies? Yeah. Okay, these are the books she has. This all makes sense.
I will say that it started. I mean, I've always had an interest in money in the sense of, well, how do you make it? How do you make it grow? That kind of thing. My parents were working class, worked at one time. My dad worked 2 jobs for a very long time, and there was always that lack of money. And then when I when I started working, which was at the age of I started working at the age of 14.
Wow.
My first paycheck was the age of 14. And not having any overhead, i.e. rent or bills, I would just save it all. And by the time I was 16, I was working part-time and just accumulating just thousands of dollars. So by the time, quite frankly, I was 18, my parents were borrowing money from me.
Wow. That's amazing.
But again, I didn't have the overhead. But and this is going to be a long question. I mean, a long answer. But when I first came out here to LA, I unwittingly got into a bad investment. That bad investment was named Todd. He's an ex-boyfriend. And
shout out Todd.
Yeah. And he got me in a lot of financial trouble. And that's too long of a story to tell, but the highlights were that we ended up living together. Unfortunately, when you live with somebody, your finances just get commingled. And I found out that a lot of the debt that he had was in my name.
And you didn't know that?
I knew that in theory, but he was working and paying the bills, so I wasn't really paying attention. Long story short, nearly 5 years later, we're breaking up because he got in a lot of trouble by the FBI. And lo and behold, I'm working at CA, working an assistant salary of no more than $24K a year. And
that's low.
I remember adding up my debt, getting up to $85,000 and still more to count. And I was like, I can't. I need to stop because I'm going to drive myself crazy. Because I'm thinking at the time, the most I've ever made is this. And how am I ever going to pay $85,000 net?
That was the debt he left.
That was the starting debt. It was more than that. But it was 6 figures, low 6 figures. It probably was just even 100K. But after that, I said to myself, never again. I will never be stupid about money. I will never let anybody give me advice unless I really know what they're talking about. I will never, be in a relationship where finances are commingled. I mean, even when I'm married, hey, my future husband, we are definitely going to have separate accounts. I'm open to talking about a prenup. So, anyhow, so that's what got me on the road of being really informed about money, spending money, making money, and starting my little nest egg. So,
do you feel like your mentality with money is like money comes and goes, or money is like energy, like you'll attract more money, or you know what I'm saying? Because there's some people that are like, oh, money comes and goes, but do you feel like no, like you need to, like you can be smart about how your money comes and goes?
Yeah. I haven't tied an energy to it. I probably should, but I do believe that money comes and goes, in the sense of, if there is an experience that I want to experience, I will pay for that experience because money comes and goes, but experiences don't. So I think that being mindful about how and where you spend your money, and growing your money is important. What else can I say? And just like managing your expenses. And I try to live, I mean, in many ways, I can be frugal, but in other ways, like let's say a vacation,
Yeah.
I'm looking at this Greece trip. It's
Audie's looking to go to Greece in August.
Yeah.
So
on a yacht.
on a yacht, no big deal. I was invited, but I need to see if money comes and goes, and if it comes, I'll go.
Yeah.
So looking forward to that. Yeah. I always think it's so important to ask people what their relationship to money is.
Yeah.
Because it is a serious relationship. I mean, it's.
Yeah, and that's a good point. It's like having a good relationship with money. And I started with having a terrible relationship with money. And now that I understand it better, I have a good relationship with it. So
I'm gonna get this little string. It's just right here. Sorry. There's like a fuzz. I think it's from my sweater. Okay. So we're gonna get into another theme that I feel like is in the book. By the way, I'm an author. I wrote a book called Good Girl. It's available on Amazon. We have a copy of it right here. And this podcast is really just supporting that book and the themes in it. And one of those themes are, do you ever feel ashamed? And this is good that you have your emotional support animal.
I know.
That you've grabbed
this is a strong word.
Do you ever feel ashamed?
Like ashamed in general?
Like whatever that means to you. Or shame.
Yeah, no, I get it. My gosh, no. Does that make me a sociopath?
A lot of women, the 3 out of 3 have pretty much said no. So I think that's interesting because my book is a lot about talking about feeling ashamed about things. But I mean, maybe not right now. You don't feel ashamed of anything. But do you feel like there was a point in your life where you felt ashamed about something, or you felt shame?
I'm sure growing up as a teenager, I probably did. Yeah. Now that I think back about my teenage years, there was a shame of like my background, where I came from, financial shame in terms of just not having financial resources to do things, or even like have new clothes for a new school year.
So you feel like that at school? You felt
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Or even the most recent that I can think of is when I first started out here at CAA, and just not having the right clothes, because there's a lot of rich people in those hallways. And what at that time, what I thought was very expensive, the J. Crew, Banana Republic, like that just does not cut it there.
What were they wearing?
I mean, I could not say for sure, but that's a place where there's designer.
But not the assistants.
I mean, some, yes,
Really?
yes.
They were wearing designer clothes, the assistants?
I mean, some of them had designer bags,
Wow.
That was the most obvious, but so shame in that sense.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Do you don't feel that anymore?
No.
Yeah, because you're like, I have my designer bag.
Well, and even if I didn't, like, yes, I have my designer bags, but like when the fires happened, for example, I did not pack not one designer bag.
She called me and I was like, every designer bag is in the suitcase. That was the first thing.
I mean, I had my work bag with me, so that was the only designer bag. But outside of that, like, didn't even take any of my designer shoes. It didn't. Yeah.
Well, for you, it was you were in a hurry.
I was in a hurry.
When
yes,
that happened.
I had to get out soon, so I took the family portrait, which is up there.
Oh, wow. That's so funny. Like, yeah, because obviously you're not going to. Oh, that's the family portrait. By the way, I thought it was going to be like you and your family from like a long time ago. It's you and Dixie.
Yeah, the family portrait is just Dixie and I.
Which I'm sure is available on Shutterfly somewhere or wherever you printed it from.
No, this is actually professionally done. We went to a studio. Yes, we went to a studio.
Well, it is nice. I'm not gonna lie, but
yes, you should go see.
It's actually kind of funny. We might have to post a photo of it later.
We might have to, yeah.
So are you single?
I am single as a dollar bill.
Yeah. And where are you at with your singleness?
My singleness. Well, I have.
Yeah. What did you just tell me before we started the podcast?
I don't know if the public should hear that.
Yeah.
I said, well, my dating life was on life support, but now somebody's actually pulled the plug.
So the dating life is gone. It's dead, but it's not really dead, right?
It's dead. Well, so the reason is, so I was dealing with breast cancer and had my second surgery now about 5.5 months ago. So I really put a pause on dating just because while I was going through that, I didn't have, nor did I want to put any emotional real estate into trying to date or meet somebody at a time where it was, I was going through something that was challenging health-wise, emotional, and mentally, So, and dating out here is hard. And I just didn't know how that could work. Going through something as stressful and serious as cancer, and then trying to date. Just what do you say in a date? Like, and mind you, I did go on some dates.
Yeah, but, I know it's hard. It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot to sit with someone and have them hold space for you,
right? When they don't know you. Yeah. So, and I didn't want to put that burden on anybody.
So, it's very responsible of you.
Yeah, thank you.
Because I feel other people would be like, fuck it, I'm just gonna, I don't know if I can say that. I'm just gonna go, like, not tell them or be weird or reckless or like, and just have fun. And you were a good person.
But then, and certainly there were times where I was like, oh, okay, I'm going on a date with this guy. There might be some potential. But then how do I say to him that I'm out of commission for a solid 3 weeks? Like, bedridden. Well, I shouldn't say bedridden because I was walking around but I can't really do much. And how do I have conversations over the phone? And what do I say? Like, why can't this person see me for 3 weeks solid? Because things coming out of my body, So,
can you tell us the courthouse story?
The courthouse story.
I mean, it's pretty good.
So I was summoned to court because I got a ticket, traffic ticket, is what they call it. I apparently had gotten pulled over because of texting. And I did not know that just glancing at your phone is considered texting. So even though I physically wasn't texting, I got pulled over for glancing on my phone. I was heading to a meeting at Paramount Studios, and I just needed to know what gate I was going to walk in, or what gate I needed to go to. Anyways, I think I'm going to get away with it because I'm contesting it on the basis of, well, texting is literally texting, and I wasn't. I have everything to prove it. Turns out, again, what I said, just picking up your phone is texting. So I tell the judge, who finds me culpable, I say, well, Your Honor, can I make a comment and a plea? And I say to him, I am single and drowning in medical bills, and I really do not have the money to pay for this ticket. And as soon as I was saying those words, my voice started cracking and I started crying, which I was shocked and surprised because I had not cried about my diagnosis more than twice before. So I think saying that in public for the first time, saying it to a stranger, it just made it really real. Not that I didn't think it was real, but it just felt very emotional.
Mm-hmm. So. I feel like it was coming from a deep place.
It was coming from a deep place. And I was very surprised that I would say this. And when you're in the courtroom, there's other people there. Anyways, that was.
And we talk about this a lot. The fact of when because I'm single as well, and
how is this possible?
Sort of
how can she? I mean, if you're single, there's just no hope. There's no hope over here.
But
no hope for me.
Us both being kind of like head of household, like it's just us. And if something happens, like if we get sick and there's no one else to help with anything.
Right.
And that shit gets real.
Yeah. And I started crying when I said single. And I was like, that never made me cry.
It wasn't the cancer that made her cry. It was the fact she said she was single.
I started with, I'm single and drowning in medical bills due to a breast cancer diagnosis. Yeah. Even though if you ask me any day, it's like, yeah, I'm single. And,
no, not that day.
Yeah, not that day. And never does any emotion come out of it. I'm like, yeah, single's $1 bill.
Do you feel better?
Single, bilingual, and ready to mingle. Trilingual, actually.
Oh, wow. What's the third language?
Je parle français.
Oh, wow. Okay. Like, goes with the sweater. So what is something you look for in a partner? And this can even be a partner or like even a friend, but like a partner. What is something you look for in a person?
I look for, I don't even know this is going to be a word, but mutualness, like mutual feelings of wanting to hang out, do things together, mutual respect. That's what I look for. Also in a romantic partner, and I guess then also in any friendship, is how do I feel around that person? And most importantly, when like I'm on a date, like how does this person make me feel?
My therapist always asks me that. How did they make you feel?
How do they make? Yeah. So I pay attention to that because I used to go on dates and not pay attention to that. And then once I started tuning into that, I found myself, saying, okay, no need to go on a second date. Because I used to believe, okay, go on at least 3 dates. And when I started tuning into like, how did they make me feel? I felt like, no, I don't need to go on a second date if I did not feel safe or like it wasn't mutual,
Do you feel like that's something that got better as you got older, like to feel more comfortable saying, I don't need to go on a second date.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah.
Because I think in the beginning, as young women, I know I experienced this.
Mhm.
You're just worried about, do they like me? Like, am I enough? Are they going to pick me? I think that there's a part of that. And then eventually you get more self-awareness, or at least I did.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, how do they make me feel?
Yeah. Well, I will say that there was only one time where I was like, oh my God, I really like this guy. I really hope that he likes me back. Other than that, I've always been like,
That's good. You are one of my friends, and I wasn't sure if this was how you've always been, or if this was something you've worked on. That you are very much like next.
Yeah.
Like you always say next. Like if I'm telling you a story,
to me.
Well, if I'm telling you a story about a date and you get the tone of how I'm feeling, you're like next. Yeah. Which I like.
Yeah.
I wish I could be more like.
Well, because I just remember thinking, or not thinking. I remember one of my friends, male friends, saying to me, and I wish I could remember which one. I'm sure after this is done, I will remember. But they said to me, Audi, if a guy really likes you, you will know it. Like he will let you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I know it sounds like, oh, well, that's very simple. But in really believing it in practice is something else. And after that, I was like, yeah, that's right. Like, and if I haven't heard from this guy in 3 weeks, well, there's my answer.
It's true.
I don't need to sit here and ponder and think about why or did I do this? And be like, well, no, he just clearly he was.
Okay, wait, I have one for you.
Yeah.
So I ran into this guy in New York like a year ago, and we kind of knew each other. We like randomly ran into each other at a restaurant, and he was like, yeah, I come to LA often. So I was like, oh, maybe I'll see him in LA. It's been a year. And like I'll talk to him every now and then on Instagram. And then what's weird is he just for the first time ever was like, oh, I'm going to be in LA and I'd like to see you. And who knows what he was doing in this past year, but like, how would you feel about that? Would you be like next, or would you be like, oh, I've got with him?
And you've kept in touch during that one
just
year?
Like friendly, like commenting on each other's stories, but not like anything. Yeah.
Well, did he ask you on a date previously and didn't follow through? Or
no, I was in New York for a few days. We ran into each other at a restaurant. He invited my friend and I to his place the next night before I was only there for 4 days.
Oh, wait. Okay. I think I remember this guy. I think, yeah. Okay. I mean, I think that if after that you guys have had friendly conversations, I would go on that one day. Yeah. But I also would, if he said to me, I'm going to be in LA, I would also say, okay, well, what day? He
wasn't that direct. He was like, I'm going to be in LA for 2 weeks. Like, let me know if you like want to, his exact words were boogie.
What was he on a boogie? Okay. And is that a euphemism for hooking
up? I was just, no, I think it was like hang out or go to, I don't know.
Sorry to interrupt. Yeah. In a case, before I forget.
I don't think it means like, do you want to hook up?
Well, in something like that, I would just say, okay, well, I'm available on, Wednesday and maybe Thursday. Let me know either this day's work.
See, you're better than that than I am. Cause I was just like, yeah, I'm around. Let me know. Like, but the other good thing is I do that, but then I also accept other invitations. Like I don't wait for him.
Yeah.
Like I've already accepted other offers.
As you should.
And then if it fills up and it doesn't happen, it's like, well, sorry, dude, you didn't lock it down.
I agree. But I think also telling somebody, okay, great, you're going to be here in 2 weeks. Okay, well, these are the days that work for me. Let me know if they work for you. That kind of narrows it down.
Don't do long distance. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know how this would work. Maybe it's just a friend hang.
Yeah.
That's kind of what it is.
But did you ever see him as a dating potential?
For sure, because we had originally matched on Raya and then randomly ran into him at a restaurant and was like, and then there was a thing, there was like a vibe, but then it didn't. hear from him, like, because he said he came out here throughout the year, never heard from him to make an effort to see me.
Well, never heard from him in terms of see you, but
I
heard
saw
from him
like in
in
his stories that he would be in LA sometime, and I didn't reach out to him, and he didn't reach out to me. This is the first time and it's been a year.
Oh, I
reached
see.
out to make
Okay,
a plan.
then maybe he would be dead to me.
Yeah, right. I feel like he would be like next, and I almost
Yes.
wanted to be like next, but then I also do kind of like him as a friend. He is really cool.
Okay, got it.
So I was like, it could be like a friendly hang, and then I can make a decision, like a game time decision. But then again, I have to ask myself, I don't do long distance, so yeah, I don't want to get in an entanglement.
And I thought if I'm remembering this person correctly, I thought he lived in both places. No, or
he lives in New York, but he has an art gallery in New York and in LA.
Okay, that's what I'm remembering.
So he has some sort of situation.
Okay. Well, there's something to explore there.
Yeah, there's something to explore. So what has your dating experience been like? I feel like we've kind of touched on this, but I mean the highs, the lows. Like, do you feel like if you were a gambler, how would you rate your luck in dating?
Oh God, my luck. That's so funny that you say that, because I literally used that word earlier today with another friend when we were talking about dating. I would say, unfortunately, I'm not lucky in that department. Now I do feel that I've met and dated some great guys. I mean, my last boyfriend he's somebody I still keep in touch with. Somebody I adore to pieces. The feeling is mutual, but we were not compatible for a long-term relationship such as marriage.
Is that what you want? You want marriage?
I do. Okay. I want marriage, even though I don't want kids. And surprisingly, as I've gone older, I've had a lot of dates with potential partners that didn't go anywhere. Meaning they wouldn't go on a second or third date, or no, I would say third date, because I didn't want kids. And so, surprisingly, the amount of guys that I've met that really want kids.
This is where the luck.
Yeah.
Okay, so you don't want kids. I want kids. I can't find a guy who will have kids with me to save my life.
Yeah.
So this is the luck, the run of the gambit.
And that's why my ex broke up with me, because I didn't want kids. And so, yeah, it's interesting. It's like, I don't know why I have met great guys that, we are a potential long-term match, in terms of marriage, but it dies at the vine because I don't want kids.
That's so weird.
I know.
Normally guys in LA don't want kids.
I know, and that's what I've been.
Isn't that crazy? How do you meet these people who want children? Where are you meeting them at church? And I go to church and I can't even meet one there.
Just around, I know. I'll flip them over to you.
Oh yeah, just send them my way.
You might know a couple of them already.
What are your female friendships? What have they been like?
They've been fluid. Meaning, in the last couple of years, my female friendships have shifted. Like, I have one friend who has a boyfriend now, and she's been seeing him for a little bit over a year, and I don't see her that often. I mean, we still keep in touch, and we'll try to catch up as often as possible, but we're not hanging out as much as we used to. Other friends just live far away. Yeah, I have probably like 3 single girlfriends.
Do you feel like that's normal? Do you feel like that's allowed, that once you get a boyfriend, you just don't see each other as much?
I mean, I hate when it happens, but it happens. Yeah. And I just have to accept it, Yeah. I'm not going to write off that friend, but I understand that our friendship has transitioned. And I wish that I'd be invited either over for dinner or do things.
Okay, so there were times when I was in a relationship that I would get bored, and I was crazy about the guy, but like if it was just us all the time, I would, we always had friends come with us to dinners, like to switch it up or go to a party with like bring a single girl friend, like so it's not just stagnant like that. So I don't know. And I've also been the third wheel for people, and I write about it a little bit in my book about being the third wheel, and it's interesting. Yeah. Either people want the third wheel or they don't.
Right. I've definitely been the third wheel, and I don't mind it. But yeah, so transition.
Yeah. What are you looking for in life right now?
I am looking to spend more quality time with friends and family, particularly my family, because I'm from Austin, as you know, and all my family's there. I'm very close to my sisters. I have 3 sisters. I'm the oldest, and I have 2 nieces, 2 nephews, and everybody's getting older. Nobody's getting younger. I had this cancer diagnosis, which has made me just think a little bit more about how do I want to spend my time on this planet, because I really don't know when my last day is going to be or how much long I have, even though I don't have cancer anymore. But, you just never know when things can happen.
So after the cancer diagnosis, you felt like you were consciously making a much greater effort to go back home and see your family more.
Yeah, like I'm leaving in about actually I'm leaving next week to go work out of Austin for a week because it falls during the kids' spring break, and I'll hang out with them, spend 2 weekends with them.
That's so nice that you get to do that with your job.
Yeah.
It's still a new moon, so now's a good time to keep calling things in, things that we want. So I want a job where I can work remote and travel and be doing other things, like not stuck in LA.
Right.
Yeah,
because all the meetings that I can do in person can do easily via Zoom. So, and all the staff meetings, there's always a Zoom component anyway. Even the huge staff meetings that we have, they're all company. We're still in our offices on Zoom.
But that would never have flied before COVID.
Right. Yeah. So we're not congregating all together in office unless it's the specific department meeting. But again, there's still a Zoom component to that because we have agents in New York. So.
All right,
so I'm not missing a beat with work.
She's not skipping.
Yes.
Playing hooky. What do you recommend for a single woman who's looking to meet a partner?
Oh God.
And it can be, just the cold hard truth.
Right. Get out of Dodge.
Get out of LA.
Get out of Dodge. Yeah. What do I recommend? Well, and I should take my own advice. I just haven't done it yet. Focus on the things that you love. And I know a lot of people say that, but I remember one time, this was like a hump in my dating life where I just had gone through a bad breakup, and the recovery of that breakup was taking a little bit longer than I wanted. And my acupuncturist, because he worked on all these points, and I had a lot of emotion. And he said, honestly, you should just start dating yourself. And I was like, what are you talking about? So just take yourself on dates, go and do things that you like, and think about the things that you like doing with a partner, and just doing by yourself. And so I started taking myself to the movie theater because I love movies, and I would go to this theater. This is before pandemic. That was in the Caruso Mall in Pacific Palisades, which sadly does not exist for now. And that was a high-end dine-in theater, and would order my glass of wine, would order dinner, and once a week I would have a date with myself. And I loved it. and doing things like that. I don't. There's. It's so stressful to get out and do a night out, uh, and you do that and get all dolled up. And even if you're talking to guys, I don't know, guys aren't asking for your number anymore.
I feel like the taking yourself out to the thing you want to do, get your glass of wine, your food at your place, is like, this is the level that someone needs to meet me at. Like, this is like what I like. This is my thing. And like, I want someone, like, I'm going to treat myself really well. So somebody better come in with like that romance. Like, if I can romance myself this much, then they better not just not ask me for my phone number at a bar. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like at the very least, they take you to do the thing, you know, like a proper date.
Yeah.
Which is hard. So that's why it is important to give yourself that romance that you want.
Yeah, for sure. Now I didn't meet anybody at the theater, but you know, certainly was open to that.
Yeah, I mean, what a meet cute.
Yeah, it would
at the little that movie theater. So
I mean, there's still a chance.
Yeah, that's true.
I just need to take myself out more often.
Yeah. Now there's just no time in the week. I feel like I'm trying to. Yeah.
Well, now I just have felt so comfortable just staying at home with Dixie.
Yeah. Well, that'll get you. That'll get you. What do you? Okay. So someone told me the other day that the thing they thought the problem was nowadays was that online dating, and there's too many options, and that people can just go to the next person. Do you think that is the problem with today?
I think that's part of the problem. Yeah. But I also think that because of everybody hiding behind these apps, male or female, we've lost the just the art of having regular conversation out and about. Whether it's us having the courage to walk up and introduce ourselves or say hi. I will say that when I'm in Austin, it's so much easier for me to say hi to a group of guys than what it is out here.
100%.
Yeah. It's just the vibe.
Okay, so great story with this. I was at a cafe on Melrose getting ready to go to an acting class. I think I was grabbing dinner at around 6:30, sitting at my little cafe table. You know, had just moved to LA maybe a few months prior, and there are these group of men behind me, like eating dinner, and I just was feeling fun and fabulous, and I just like leaned over and I was like, hi, and chimed into their conversation, and they literally all looked at me and they said, where are you from?
Right.
And I was like, Texas. Because that's what
they were like, no wonder.
Yeah. But it doesn't happen here as much as I would like it to.
No. And I certainly have gone up to guys and introduced myself, and but it's had to been more like a one-on-one situation. You know, in a group, it just feels the energy is just unwelcoming. It doesn't feel open. Whereas in Austin, I feel totally comfortable just going up to a group of guys. By a group, I mean like 3 or 4, you know,
15 men.
Yeah, not 15 men, you know. So they're more accessible. People are more accessible. Yeah. But also to answer your question about, yes, I think that these apps have made it hard. Our social skills are no longer there. And we're hiding behind these apps. I've met guys who, I remember going on a date with this one guy who, when we were sitting down, he's like, so you don't remember me? I'm like, what do you mean? It's like, we met before. I'm like, in real life? He said, yes. And then it all came to me. We had met at a bar and we had great energy, great banter. And I thought for sure this guy's going to ask me for my number. I walked out. The guy didn't get my number. I was like, okay, well, I guess maybe he's a girlfriend or maybe he's gay. I don't know. 9 months later, this is when we're at the state, and I ended up meeting him through an app. And he said, well, because I asked him, so why didn't you ask for my number? He said, well, I just figured that I would run into you on a dating app. And guess, and I was right. Here we are. And I'm like, yeah, 9 fucking months later.
I don't like
It
that
was such a
answer.
turn off for me that I just, yeah, that did not go. Because then what that tells me is that you're lacking courage. And I feel like in a relationship,
Yeah.
you need courage.
Oh, 100%.
Because you are opening yourself to somebody potentially getting hurt, and you have to be willing to take that risk.
Yeah.
And then also for women, there's been times where, so I'm terrible with faces, but I have certainly seen friends that have seen these guys in real life and won't go up to them in person. They're like, "Oh, I'll just connect with them on the app again." I'm like, "This is your opportunity.
I mean,
can I go say hi to them on your?"
It's like that guy in New York that we had seen each other on the app, but we had to say something to each other.
Yeah.
We kept looking at each other, it was like you have to say something.
Right.
My worst nightmare is that I've been on the apps too long and too much that I'm gonna end up on a date with someone and be like, "Oh, we already went out." Like I've gotten close to that happening. I've definitely matched with like a handful of men and started chatting, and then like, here's my number, and I'm like, oh, I already have it saved in my phone. Oh, we've already done this.
That happened to me once.
Guys, she's a hoe. No, she's not. She just actually didn't go out with them. I think because like they didn't say anything. I think the text just stopped.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I was like, I'm not gonna drag you into a bar.
Well, and also people don't like getting on the phone. Like I've heard women who were like, "Oh my God, he called me and I could not pick up." I'm like, you prefer going back and forth? Like, I'm very much a phone person.
What are your thoughts on voice notes? People sending voice notes.
Oh, I'm okay with them.
Do you send voice notes?
No.
Okay, I don't either.
I only send voice notes if somebody's sending me a voice note.
I've never sent a voice note back to someone. My friend Candy sends me voice notes like every day, and I always reply with a text.
Yeah.
I just can't do it. What's a red flag for you?
In a guy?
Yeah.
Oh God, I used to have one and then that went away. Making concessions here. What is a red flag? Somebody who doesn't have empathy. Like, I went on a date with this guy twice, and he knew about this was last year while I was going through my surgeries, and he knew about the situation, and he didn't follow up in a timely manner, and it just kind of felt like, you know what I've been going through because you've been asking me and I've been sharing, and then you're not going to follow up. It's, I don't know.
I feel like to me, that's not a lack of empathy. That's like an inability to hold space. Like that's, I think, his fear and his lack of chutzpah. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, maybe
to have hey, like genuinely, like, hey, how are you?
Yeah.
Like I feel like he just probably isn't.
Well, I know. It was more of like he said I'd hear from him by a certain timeline, and I didn't. So I was just like, so that
I don't like.
Yeah. Well, it was mixed in with like a lack of follow through.
Yeah.
And a lack of just to me it felt like not caring enough.
Well, you can't trust them anymore. Once someone says you will hear from me by this date and you don't hear from them, then you're like, okay, well,
right. Yeah.
Can't really take your word for anything.
Yeah. Yeah. Because they're the ones who said it.
Yeah.
I wasn't like,
they didn't have to say that. Love bombing. That was love bombing. What is an orange flag?
An orange flag? Oh my gosh. I don't think I've heard about a yellow flag.
Or maybe it's yellow.
Orange flag seems a little bit.
Yeah. What's a purple flag?
Deep red. God, clearly I have not thought about dating in a very long time. I would say ambition. Like if somebody do, doesn't have any like interest
Yeah.
or desire to do things. On your phone too.
Oh, guys, public
Yeah.
safety alert.
We should read this.
Okay. What was I gonna? Okay, we're gonna wrap this up in like 10 minutes.
Okay.
So wait, what were we
Okay.
just talking about before the public safety? Who texted us? Who's that? Who are these people?
Oh, Brantley, just he's watching.
Oh,
us
they're
live.
okay. Hi, Brantley. Who are you there with? Is there another person in the image? Who's this
No.
person? Who's that?
I don't know. I can't see.
Brantley, who's this other person? So what were we talking about? Green flag, orange
Oh,
flag?
orange flag. Oh, yeah, and I said ambition. Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if you read that chapter in the book. You probably have, where I hooked up with this bartender and we like went on a date. It was in New York. And he was
yes, I read that.
God bless his heart.
Yeah.
He was like, I'm okay being a
Yes,
bartender or a salesman or like whatever. Like I don't have any goals. Like I don't need to do anything.
Right. Yeah.
And immediately, and this guy was hot, like so
Right.
hot.
Yeah.
Immediately I was like, oh
Yeah, it's a turn off.
Yeah.
It's a turn off. Yeah, absolutely. I certainly have gone on dates with very gorgeous men. And either there was a lack of ambition or, the social skills just out the door.
The social skills?
Yeah. Well, not being able to hold a conversation
Okay.
or have conversation or be engaging,
or playing with their food.
Yeah. It's just like, can you give me something to chew on?
No, I mean, I don't want to talk poorly of hot men, but I've never met one that, well, that I'm still with.
Let's talk about it privately.
Yeah. So we're going to wrap this up. What are some of your goals in life? Like long-term goals, like just putting it out there into the universe.
Long-term goals. To finally learn how to play piano.
Okay. There is like a baby grand piano in front of me right now.
I own a baby grand, and I live in an apartment complex where there's 20 units, and there are 3 other pianos here. I know they all know how to play. They all have uprights. I'm the only asshole that does not know how to play the piano, and I have a baby grand.
Are you like hearing your neighbor playing the piano, and you're like, I'll learn how to play the piano?
Yes.
That's funny.
Yes. Meet the right partner, get married, and buy a house in Austin, live mid-coastal, split my time between Austin and LA, because I love it here in terms of
you need to go out in Austin and meet someone.
Yes,
that's your trajectory.
Yes, and I have. Yeah, it's a lot easier to meet men out there. So there is hope. So those are my long-term goals.
You also need to get on the dating apps and set them for Austin. For Austin. Maybe so you can just go ahead and do some pre-planning. Yeah. And when you get out there, you can book that date. It's in the calendar.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like this dating tip.
That's what I do sometimes when I'm on vacation. Like when I went to Rhode Island, I like set it for Newport, and I was like, or Boston. I was like, let's see what fishermen I can pull in.
Well, actually, this reminds me. I have friends. One of my closest friends, her home sadly burned down in the Palisades fire, and she and her husband and their 3-year-old son moved to Newport Coast. And we've talked about me going over and spending a weekend there, or maybe I'd move in for the summer. I don't know.
What are you going to do with the man who lives in Orange County?
I don't know yet, but I mean, maybe I don't know.
Maybe he'll want to move to Austin with you,
or move to LA. Who knows?
Yeah.
And honestly, I'm at a point in my life where it's like, It's fine if you have your place and I have my place. I don't need to see you every day.
Okay, you know what you should do?
Yeah.
You should also set your dating profile to Orange County just so you can see what's out there. I did that. I saw. I don't
Okay.
ever need to see again.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I will also say I'm not on dating apps and I have no intention of getting
Okay,
back
well
on
then
there.
you're gonna have to go out and oh, by the way, I went to Terranea the other day.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I was in Palos Verdes for a photo shoot and I was with
Okay.
my mom. And I
Okay.
was like, should we just go to Terranea at sunset? It's nice.
Okay.
I don't think we need to go get a hotel room there and try and meet people at the bar.
Okay, so how was the bar scene?
It was okay.
This was on what day?
It was on a Saturday.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there was like a wedding happening. There were some wedding people. I don't know.
I got bad in town.
Honestly, I think we're better off going to the Rosewood, the Miramar in Montecito.
Oh,
I think we're better off going to Montecito.
Okay. In the evening?
It's just
I
beautiful.
mean, I've been there during the day. It's beautiful.
Really beautiful.
It is.
Okay. I think to me, that's more worth the money, I feel like, than Terranea.
Okay.
Like the beauty.
Well, we'll have to scope it out.
Miramar. Guys, I love hotels. I'm so bougie and they're so expensive. I need to work for hotels. Okay. Or date someone who owns a hotel, like a hotelier.
A hotelier, yeah.
Hotelier.
Yeah. We might want to wrap this up.
Okay, we're gonna wrap it
up. I don't think anybody wants to hear from us any longer.
They don't want to hear about the hoteliers. Okay. What are you wanting more? Okay, real quick, speed round. What are you wanting more of?
Time.
Okay. Is there anything you regret?
Yes.
What?
Oh God, I have to say what it is.
I mean,
yeah. We'll skip that one.
Okay. What is something you struggle with?
I struggle with. My God, I struggle with so many things, but
just list them all out really quickly.
Oh God. We will be here for another hour. I struggle with where I want to be full time.
Like
meaning,
live?
Yeah.
Okay.
Live. And I think I've cracked this. I think it's not in one place 100% of the time because I also didn't grow up like that. I grew up in Austin during the school year and then in Mexico during the summer. So I think that that's something that is just.
You do travel a lot.
I do travel a lot, but I think I don't know if this has happened to you, but as we get older, I feel that we go back to our roots, like what we initially did and knew as kids.
Yeah, they always say that you go out and you conquer life and then you come back to what you know.
So like I want to start riding horses again. I didn't do that in Texas. I did that in Mexico.
You can do that in Texas.
I can do that in Texas. I can do that in here as well. I just have to drive pretty far out. I grew up farm to table. I'm trying to do more farm to table.
It'll just cost you $100.
That's the thing. Like growing up, I was like, "Oh, this is how poor people eat,"
from the garden,
the Hardin. Yeah. And now it's like, and yeah, I grew up just being used to. Okay, this is the school year. I'm in Austin now. This is a schlep. This is school. This is hard. And I was a straight A student, and so I looked forward to these summers where I would just really just unplug. And
you're such an agent.
Unplug. Yeah.
Okay, so you're struggling with getting back to those roots.
Yeah. But also wanting to be here. Yeah.
Does this mean that I'm just going to end up in a small town out in the middle of nowhere?
No, I don't know. I think that was
my childhood.
No, I had never heard of
my hometown.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, Sissy Spacek is from my hometown.
What? Mm-hmm. Quitman?
Yep.
Okay.
Sissy Spacek is from Quitman, Texas.
Okay. Had never heard of Quitman, Texas until I read your book.
Yeah. Matthew McConaughey is from Longview. Forrest Whitaker is also from Longview.
I thought Matthew was from Uvalde. Matthew McConaughey?
He was born in Longview.
Maybe but he grew up in Uvalde.
Is that West Texas?
I mean, it is not that far from Austin.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Then no, I thought he was from East Texas. Okay,
well, he made
He
when
did.
the Uvalde
Yeah.
shooting happened.
I think he just like went. I don't know. I have to look at that. Okay, one last question from Instagram, and we'll wrap it up. What's a place you'd like to visit that you haven't been to?
I would love to visit South Africa.
Oh.
Yeah, all of South Africa.
Or all of Africa, or just South
No,
Africa? All of South Africa.
Not the entire continent of Africa. South Africa. Yeah.
Oh, nice. Okay.
I just hear great things. Yeah.
Seems really. Seems really nice.
Cape Town.
I think like when you're like in your 50s, or like that's like a perfect like 50, 60-year-old trip. Is like South Africa.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Young people go there all the time.
Oh, do they? Okay.
Okay.
Well, I haven't been one of those young people.
Okay, guys. I feel like we did it. I will look through these comments at a later date. But if anyone has any last minute questions, if not, I feel like you probably want to get back to work, or what do you want to do? It's like 8 p.m. She's like, I got to send some emails. So, Auri, thank you so much for coming on.
Of course. Thank you for having me. This is my first ever broadcast.
Ooh, first
Were there
ever
any
broadcast.
questions that we can answer quickly?
I feel like. Oh, Rhiannon says. Oh, okay. Rhiannon said that he was born in Uvalde but went to school in Longview. This is my friend from Mineola, from East Texas. So, hi, Rhiannon. Thank you for really quickly chiming in on that. Rhiannon's met Matthew McConaughey.
And confirming. Right? Yeah.
Get it, ladies. Enjoyed hearing from y'all. Oh, well, Texas in the house right here. All right, guys. Well, we're going to call it a night. So thank you so much. This has been so much fun. And until next time, all my good girls and boys. Okay.
Right. Bye-bye.
Bye. Actually, I need to figure out how to end this there. We got